Welcome. I invite you to step into the navel consciousness abundance triad. What is the abundance triad? You are made up of three basic energies: ecstasy, abundance, health. Ecstasy, abundance, health are the primary energies that a human being, that a being is sent with. But as part of evolution, we are still learning to birth consciously, to conceive consciously, to birth consciously, and to raise consciously. So our birthing systems are cosmically primitive. And during your birth, when your umbilical cord is cut, it sends a huge shock into your navel. Your navel is not your solar plexus, your Manipura, and it is also not your Hara. It is also not your Kundalini. Your navel is your belly button. And when the umbilical cord is cut, this belly button, this navel portal gets shocked. Technically, you had come with the setting of abundance, ecstasy, health. But because of this shock, your being gets plunged into the deprivation triad. The deprivation triad is depression, lack, disease. No wonder our life seems such a big struggle. It seems poor. It seems riddled with diseases. But now this evolution, ascension, the collective consciousness, the individual consciousness is moving towards enlightenment. And one of the essential components of enlightenment is to be able to live life in the abundance triad, to create ecstasy, to create abundance, to create health, and to live it. And that is the field that I am inviting you to before we listen to the topic of this week. Today's topic is depression. Depression is a worldwide epidemic, right at the core of the comforts that the modern civilization has to offer. Never has depression been this widely spread as it is today. But depression is just like cancer. All of us have cancer cells within us. All of us. None of us are without it. And so all of us have the potential of depression within us, right from the time we are born. But just like with some people, the cancer cells turn into a full-fledged disease that eats them inside out. Depression in some turns into a full-fledged disease that eats them inside out. But this doesn't mean that all of us don't have this disease. We all suffer from depression, varying degrees of depression at some point in our life. And I think usually people suffer from a little bit of depression every day. It's just that many of us are able to function even though we are feeling paralyzed by depression. We are able to do our chores, we are able to carry out our routines, and so it's easier for us than those who are not able to do anything, who are not able to function, who are not able to think straight, who are not able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, who are not able to get out of their beds. But depression is depression. Technically, if we look at it, there are many reasons behind it. There are social reasons behind depression. There's physiological reasons behind depression. Somebody has a physical disease and that creates the depression, or the other way around. There are mental reasons behind depression. There's psychological reasons. Some experiences create so much depression. Some memories never go and they create depression. They create permanent depression or temporary depression. There are economical reasons. People get so tired and exhausted of fighting poverty, lack, that economic reasons also create depression. There are social reasons that create depression. So much of social pressure, domination, scrutiny creates depression. There are many reasons for depression. But most of all, what is the spiritual reason behind depression? According to me, all the work that I've done in last 20 years with my own depression and that of others, the spiritual reason behind any degree of depression from 0 to 100 is genius. Genius. What does genius have to do with a paralyzing disease, mental condition like depression? Okay, to explain what genius has to do with it, let me take you through something. You are essentially a quantum being. What is a quantum being? A quantum being is the partner of the universe, has directly originated from the source, works with the source, has the source, is the source. You call this source God or whatever you want to call it. Source is source. So you are essentially a quantum being. That means you are the source. But when the quantum being wants to take a form, wants to individuate, it takes the form only through the causal being. Can you imagine trying to tie the whole sky into one cloud? So your quantum being is the whole sky, but now it wants to function in an individuated form, so it takes the form of you. To be able to take the form of you, it has to become a causal consciousness. Your body, your mind, your energy body, that means your emotions, your life, all lie within the causal consciousness. Everything is inside the causal consciousness, and your causal consciousness is the container of your experiences, memories, logic, emotions, conclusions, decisions, even education, all that you have been told, all the conditioning that you have gone through, and all the impressions you have gathered, not just from this lifetime, but all the lifetimes. Your causal consciousness is the container where everything is. So, here's your quantum being, here's your causal consciousness. The quantum being wishes to pass through the causal consciousness, experiencing itself. But if your causal consciousness is filled up and clogged with the deprivation triad experiences, experiences of lack, of depression, of disease, these are the kind of memories that are in your causal consciousness. These are the impressions, the conclusions in your causal consciousness. The unfathomable, infinite quantum self, while passing through the causal being, causal consciousness, starts to dim, reduce, doesn't get through. And what comes out at the other end, that is your body, that's your mind, is depression. Your quantum being technically uses your causal consciousness, your causal being as the vehicle for itself. Your quantum being uses the causal being as a vehicle of its own expression. And when your causal consciousness is so clogged up that that quantum being is not able to come through, what would have been an expression changes into a depression. And this is why behind your depression is genius. You are not worthless. You are not nothing. You are not useless. No. You are a genius that has not been understood or that has not come through. That's what you are spiritually, and the expression has become the depression. So if you have depression, do you have a mental disease? If you ask me, not at all. No matter what the degree of your depression, no matter how many medicines you are having to balance out the chemical imbalance in your brain caused by the depression, you don't have a disease. Mental illness is a heavy word. It's a burden. And most of the times, when we do not understand something, when we do not understand the spiritual cause or the root cause of something, we just go on treating the symptoms. But our body, our being is made up of quantum energy, the infinite source, the universal intelligence. When you treat the root cause, the symptoms withdraw. It might take a little bit of time, but they do. So I would say that you do not have a disease. The genius in you wishes to come through. It's not able to come through. What do I recommend? I recommend don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to normalize yourself. Don't be in a hurry to fit in. For that matter, don't be in a hurry to stand out. Depression usually puts on you the pressure to normalize and get back to functioning. That may not be what is needed. Your body, your mind has rebelled. Depression has taken place because you actually do not wish to be only a functional being. Functionality is limited to what your society thinks is right in that moment. Hello, Sharmi. So functionality is not what you are aiming at. You are aiming at expression. Aim at expression. For some time, drop your functionality and aim at expression. That's how your depression will change. Wait a bit. Wait. Calm down. Rest. Relax. Drop your agenda of getting back to normal life. Listen. Listen to your depression. Your depression has got the most precious message from your soul. Your depression is the messenger that will transform your life. This is my personal experience, and this is my experience with countless students I have mentored in last 20 years. Your depression has a precious message. It is the transformation you're looking for, but you need to have the ears to listen to the message. You need to sit down, relax, and allow it to speak to you. You need to let the wave of restlessness pass so that you can decipher the message that is coming through from your quantum being to you. Your depression probably is your best friend. So if you ask me if depression is a disease, I would say no. Then what is depression? Depression is an invitation that is misunderstood. It's an invitation. Take it. Take this invitation. The society teaches you to function, get back to normal. That's not what is needed. Collective evolution, collective conscious ascension is forcing us to look into our age-old ways and redefine them. The age-old way of treating depression is to force you into functionality. You tell yourself stories that yes, it's okay to get back to normalcy. This is life. Routine is life. That's not true. Routine is not life. Functionality and normalization is not equivalent to living life. It may be good as surviving it, but it's not living. One of my students, an excellent, intuitive, enlightened, highly educated person, suffered from depression. And over the years, at one point, had a nervous breakdown, had to be hospitalized, and at some point had to be given traditional psychological treatment. Because this person was a student of mine, the psychological treatment and my treatment, my sessions were going parallelly. The psychologist expected this person to get back to normalcy, to start functioning in this person's societal role again. That was the only agenda. And every time this person experienced or expressed something other than that, the person almost got reprimanded for doing that. At some point, we had done enough work for this person to become empowered enough, and the psychological treatment had to stop. Within 1 year, from a nervous breakdown, this person was on the stage performing with some of the greatest artists. That was a small hobby that turned into the life purpose. The quantum being of this person had come to become the artist, but the causal being was forcing it. And so at one point, the nervous breakdown, the so-called depression, the so-called mental paralysis led this person through it to a transformed life. This is the example that I can give you, that your depression is your best friend. You just need to translate its language. You need to walk a structured path so that it can be changed from a paralyzing disease or condition to the very launch pad from where you spread your wings and you fly out. You came to express, not to depress. So focus on your expression even though it goes through your depression. I hope today's topic is helpful to you. And yet again, thank you so much for all the love that you send me, for all the sharings, for everything that you share with me, the stories that you sent me, the questions that you ask me. I try to answer them through this medium or any other medium as much as I can. Thank you for walking with me on this journey. Thank you for receiving me. Deep gratitude for that. And yet again, I will see you next week with, let's see, what are the other topics that wish to be channeled. Write to me. Let me know how you felt. Today, I want to end with a statement that I channeled when I channeled Naval Consciousness Healing Wisdom. That which is ecstatic is abundant. That which is abundant is always healthy. Ecstasy, abundance, health. Repeat this every day in the morning and evening to be able to step into the abundance triad. See you next week.